Ready to escape into a world of enchanting pixels? What is up, my peeps? And today we're going to be reading The Magic of Lego, the toy that changed the world. In 1949, Lego revolutionized... One second, there we go. Lego revolutionized the toy industry, millions of imaginations, by introducing little bricks that allow for structure, play, and spontaneous creativity, often simultaneously. At first glance, they might seem unremarkable, a bunch of small, brightly colored plastic rectangles, bricks they're called. You could pass them by without a second thought in the toy aisle of your local department store, or maybe you'd roll your eyes trying to step over them as they lay strewn on the floor at the home of a relative with small children. Just kid stuff, like crayons or those blocks with the letters of the alphabet on them. But these little plastic bricks are the centerpiece of a international juggernaut that has revolutionized the world of play and expanded the minds of generations of children and adults alike. Lego. Named for an amalgam of the Danish phrase for play well, the Lego Group launched in 1932 under founder Ole Kirk Christensen, a carpenter from Billund, Denmark. As a maker of wooden toys, the bricks were first manufactured and marketed in 1949. They're part of a unique and ingenious system. Tiny tubes inside give the knobs atop other blocks more places to grip. They hold together well, but a child can take them apart easily. Sounds simple enough, deceptively so. For the magic of Lego bricks, that is. Because of their design, they allow for virtually limitless creativity. A few years ago, mathematician Soren Ehlers of the University of Copenhagen calculated that half a dozen of those standard 4x2-inch plastic rectangles can be used in almost 1 billion different combinations. This number down here, to be precise. Houses and buildings from every architectural period and every conceivable style, whole towns, cities, plains. Here's the picture. Oh, okay. Wow, that's a cool picture, actually. So this up here is the... Oh, my God. Hold on. I gotta do this single-handed. 1 second. Okay, so this up here is the original... That's the, Nearby is the Lego house above. That is actually really cool. The fact that that exists, the Lego house, which is up here. Trying to get a better shot of it. There we go. Anyway, there's that down there, and then off to the side is the original Legoland theme park, which is this picture down here. And then down here is a interactive attraction for... Wait, hold on, no. Playing with Lego can help children learn about creativity and cooperation. True. Anyways, continuing on from the other page. Trains and automobiles, furniture and jewelry. To really understand Lego's impact, you have to... First, I have to steady my hands. You have to consider construction toys at the time of their introduction, says Tim Walsh, an author, inventor, and YouTube toy historian. Wooden structures were possible to build with ubiquitous wooden blocks, but not very stable. More elaborate structures were possible with Tinker Toys and Lincoln Logs, but the step up was not significant. Very elaborate structures were possible with erector sets, but tedious to build and take apart. It took a few years to eliminate the warping and cracking that typified early Lego bricks, but once perfected, they give kids all the ease of building with wooden blocks. Tinker Toys and Lincoln Logs with all the elaborate possibility of erector sets, and at a significantly lower price. And in terms of open-ended play, Lego is unparalleled, in that it offers specific goal-oriented sets to complete in model-building fashion, and the opportunity to combine sets to create virtually endless possibilities in terms of creation. Small wonder Britain's Toy Retailers Association voted Lego the Toy of the Century in 2000. It's hard to imagine a bigger impact in terms of a toy shaping us and in turn our culture, observes Walsh. Perhaps only Barbie and Frisbee come to mind. I don't think it's possible to determine how many architects and engineers found their bliss and eventually their profession because of this toy. It's staggering. Like all products and businesses, Lego has experienced peaks and valleys, good years and lean, subject to the forces of global history and economics. The company has almost always adapted. There are Legoland theme parks and a Lego film franchise. It's hard to imagine. Okay, that's from this page. And while the internet revolution might have overwhelmed Lego's old school brick and mortar aesthetic, thus far, the company has managed digital transformation deftly, launching mobile apps based on kids' favorite Lego themes, smart companion apps that allow users to control real-life models and robots, and Lego Life, a secure social media platform for children. Still, for all the tech razzle-dazzle with Lego, it always comes back to the bricks. They feel good in your hands, Walsh says. They feel good when they connect, and even when they're pulled apart. And of course, visually speaking, Lego's wooden and metal forerunners didn't stand a chance. All those brightly colored bricks were like Dorothy opening the door to her bedroom once she landed in Oz. Here we go. Here's some of the pictures. There's the Taj Mahal. There's the Colosseum and Eiffel Tower. There's Titanic. Of course, there's Star Wars to the left. And Hogwarts Castle from Harry Potter to the right. Or I guess more specifically, the Millennium Falcon to the left there. Alright, Chapter 1, The Lego Story. The resilient toy company has transformed the way kids and adults play thanks to an empire built on creativity. Oh, and this is what that says up here. One of Lego's earliest innovatives was the town plan, where children could create a community, including this gas station from 1978. Brick by brick, from a humble start in rural Denmark, and thanks to constant innovation and risk-taking, Lego has built itself into one of the world's most successful toy companies. Alright, here we go. At the age of 6 in 1897, Ole Kirk Christensen, I really hope I'm saying that correctly, was a farmland, like his father Jens, tending to sheep and cows, cleaning stables on the edge of Bullen, Denmark, a deeply religious South Jutland community of about 100 inhabitants. One of 13 children, Ole Kirk grew up undeniably poor. Though his parents made sure he received a basic high school education, which amounted to 2 days of class a week, the youngster, however, was far more interested in working with his hands than in hitting the books or looking after barnyard animals. In between his farm chores, Ole Kirk, willed away time whittling wood. That pre-aged his career. At 14, he began to work as an apprentice carpenter and joiner for his brother, Christian. There we go. After 6 years, Ole Kirk performed mandatory military service as a infantryman at the Citadel in Copenhagen. Once discharged, armed with his certificate of apprenticeship, he set off for the life of a journeyman. Here's some old... Here we go. A original patent for Lego's interlocking bricks opposite an early Lego building set from Germany, the company's first international market. Oh, cool! Whoa. That is really cool, actually, that little picture. Oh my goodness, I cannot get this right. There we go. Wait. Hold on. I want y'all to see this picture. There we go. That's better. That is actually really cool, not gonna lie. That old picture, cool. Anyway. Alright. So this is what Lego, or this was like the concept art for it, basically. Oh, there's his name. And there, I can't read that cursive print. Anyways, moving on. Lego founder. Oh, that's talking about this picture up here. That's what that text is talking about. Down there with that tiny picture. Anyway, moving on. Unpretentious nature. He was a familiar figure, oh god, at the Mission Hall, where he gave back by teaching handicrafts at the local school. Old Kirk's devout Christian faith was put to the test on April 27th of 1924. While he and his wife were taking an afternoon nap, their 5-year-old son, Carl George, I was going to call him Carl, and his younger brother, Godfred, were playing in their father's workshop. The boys were trying to light a fire in the glue heater and accidentally also ignited a pile of wood shavings. Flames swiftly engulfed the building and ultimately burned both the Christiansens' home and Old Kirk's workshop to the ground. Unbeknown, Old Kirk built back better. He commissioned prominent architect Jasperson, that's an interesting name, to design a new home, still known as Old Kirk's house. The Christiansens' new dwelling featured well-composed facades, front dormers, a hip-pitched roof, and a finely wrought main door. To finish things off, Old Kirk laid the first concrete sidewalk in Billund. I was reading the wrong thing. In Billund, and placed the sculpted figures of 2 lions. There we go. And placed sculpted figures of 2 lions sitting guard on either side of the front entrance. In October 1929, the Wall Street crash sent markets around the Western world reeling as both industry and agriculture struggled to survive. In Billund, the price of butter and bacon plummeted, causing many farmers to go under. That, in turn, seriously impacted Old Kirk Christiansen, drastically reducing his clientele as farmers and smallholders, if they survived at all, found they couldn't afford the kind of fine carpentry work that was his specialty. By 1931, Christiansen had laid off his last journeyman. I had to look for the future with hope, he would write in his memoirs, but within 2 months my world was tumbling. Indeed, 1932 brought a tragedy far worse than any business reverse. While pregnant with their 5th child, Kristen fell ill, suffered a miscarriage, seemed to rally, but then died at the age of 40 after an attack of phlebitis, the swift and sudden blow the words split apart. That down there is the beginning of the word naturally, which is up here. And we have to read this single page. Here we go. Naturally shattered Old Kirk. I remember him coming to the front room where I was playing around on the organ. On the organ, and he told us what had happened. Godfred, then 12, recalled, "That was my first time I saw my father cry." Sick with grief on the verge of bankruptcy, Old Kirk leaned into his faith, not necessarily in a religious sense. Godfred's son, Kjeld, CEO of LEGO from 1979 to 2004, told Jens Anderson, author of the 2020 book The Lego Story, basically talking about that book up there. It's more than a broader and more general faith in the future. In his later years, Old Kirk remembered brooding about his personal and professional losses. With creditors at his door and experiencing an epiphany, though in a vision, he said, "I saw a large factory where busy people were bustling in and out, where raw materials were brought in and finished goods dispatched. The image was so clear I never doubted I would one day reach my goal. It was the factory that today is a reality." With his business on the ropes, Old Kirk found an angel in the form of his new housekeeper, Sophie Jorgensen. She bonded with the children and their father. The pair wed in 1934. Sophie's savings helped Old Kirk settle his debts and keep the woodworking factory afloat. He also found some professional inspiration in a trades magazine advice column, which suggested that even in hard times there was a market in essential utility products. So it's just step ladders and ironing boards, as well as another commodity that transcended economic conditions. Toys by 1935. Transcended economic conditions, toys, and then by 1935. Okay. By 1935, Old Kirk would then make them the focus of his company. It was an era during which the importance of childhood, and more specifically play, was a hot topic across Europe. It was a perfect time to set in motion Old Kirk's new business model, which was burnished by his perfectionist attitude towards woodworking. Christensen's highly painted products were exactingly handcrafted at the best quality beech wood. Popular items included a horse and cart rig, cars, trucks, and yo-yos. Briefly, a craze in the early 1930s, one of the most iconic of these toys was a wooden duck with an orange mouth, black head, tail, and wings, and a red body, resting on a black platform mounted on rolling wheels. The toy could be pulled by an attached string. As the wheels turned, they activated a mechanism that allowed the duck's beak to open and close. Once Old Kirk decided to concentrate on toy production, he realized that his company name, Billund Mascuri, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, was a bit of a mouthful. Yeah, you think? To come up with something catchier, he held a contest among his employees. Whoever submitted the best name would win a bottle of their boss's homemade wine. Wow. As it happened, the winner was, big surprise, Old Kirk himself. He combined the Danish words leg and got, which combined to me play well. That was streamlined to a single word, which coincidentally happens to be Latin for I assemble. The company officially used the name Lego for the first time in January 1936. Though old school in many ways, Old Kirk was also a striver with a keen interest in new technology, machinery, processing equipment, materials, to enhance quality and speed production. In 1937, for instance, he bought a state-of-the-art milling machine for the price of the average house. Wow. It was that machine that Old Kirk used to cut a sign in beechwood bearing the company motto, which his son Godfred, by then active in the company, designing and crafting wooden toys, hung up in the factory. Only the best is good enough. Despite World War II and the German occupation of Denmark, the demand for Lego toys remained stronger than ever. So much so that sales doubled within the first 2 years of the conflict. Once again, however, adversity threw up a roadblock. On the night of March 20th, 1942, a fire destroyed the woodworking factory, even melting machinery. Though unlike the blaze nearly 2 decades earlier, it spared the Christensens' adjoining house. Also, here's some black and white pictures up here. Oh, and here's the text explaining this picture. A long-standing appeal of Lego is the size and scope of what can be built, from a massive ocean liner to an entire neighborhood. Yep, you got that right. Anyway, moving on. Rebuilding the factory seemed impossible. Lego's insurance wouldn't cover the loss in new construction, but a loan from Vigel Bank came through and allowed Old Kirk to build a new facility in Billund dedicated entirely to toys and to expand his payroll. The war certainly presented challenges. What with rationing and the Nazis, who commandeered Old Kirk's factory for use to store materials. The toy maker maintained a civil facade towards the occupiers, but was secretly active in the Danish resistance. As Godfred recalled, Dad would transport hand grenades, among other things, in the empty wooden boxes marked Lego they would usually use for wooden toys, and that's how the resistance movement was passed supplies. During the chaotic period after Denmark's liberation in May 1945, Old Kirk patrolled the streets as a kind of auxiliary. I can't pronounce that word. Ox. I'm just gonna say ox. As a kind of ox policeman, a rifle over his shoulder, trying to control Danish vigilante mobs that were hunting down traitors and collaborators. Meanwhile, business hummed along. The most popular items included toy irons and ironing boards for girls, cars and trucks for boys, as well as colorful blocks marked with letters and numbers used as educational tools for small children. By the war's end, Christensen was finding it increasingly difficult to secure quality beechwood. But the period also brought new technologies. There we go. Brought new technologies and possibilities that would revolutionize industry and modern life at large, especially one word, plastics. Here was a material that was more durable and economical than wood. As Jens Anderson wrote in the Lego Story, plastic didn't have to be seasoned, steamed, oven-dried, milled, polished, painted, varnished, and finally assembled with screws, nails, and labels. Unlike wooden toys, which require multiple workers, plastic ones could easily be mass-produced by a machine operated by a single person. Seizing on the new trend, in 1947, Old Kirk invested in a pricey British plastic injection molding machine, which he'd seen demonstrated in the UK. The toy maker brought something else back from Britain. Small, interlocking red, yellow, blue, and green plastic building bricks. Hollow underneath with slits on the side and studs on top. They were invented by Hilary Page, creator of a company called Kitty Craft, and Old Kirk was fascinated with them. Lego proceeded to design its own version, which came out in January 1949 under the name Automatic Binding Bricks. Pretty creative name, if I say so myself. As Godfrey recounted years later, they would look like the samples we had from Kitty Craft. But there were 3 differences. We wanted sharp corners, flat studs, and an 8mm module. Although the bricks were fairly successful, they didn't match Lego's top-selling plastic toy, the authentic-looking Ferguson tractor, with its rubber tires and steering mechanism, which hit the market in 1951. That year, Old Kirk suffered a stroke, and Godfrey took on more responsibilities. By 1957, he would become managing director. Godfrey began to believe Lego's diversity of products, some 265, was a hindrance in the crowded international toy market. He decided to limit the company's focus to one commodity, those plastic cubes, which in 1952 to 53 were rechristened Lego bricks. Godfrey then set about developing an overarching philosophy behind his product, a way of making it more than a matter of sticking plastic pieces together. He convinced what became known as the Lego system in play, a grand scheme that in effect offered children almost limitless creative possibilities. Our idea has been to create a toy that prepares the child for life, Godfrey explained, appealing to the child's imagination and developing the creative urge and joy of creation that are the driving force in every human being. His son Keld explained on Godfrey's thinking in the Lego Story. This was Dad's fundamental concept, that the whole thing should be a coherent system of elements that always fit together. Different bricks, bought in different sets, and could always be combined, he said. That way, a child could build a house, a car, a skyscraper, a stadium, and even a whole town or city. In the mid-1950s, Lego expanded beyond Denmark, establishing headquarters in in Germany. There we go. I cannot pronounce the name of that area. Before long, large Lego displays filled department store windows across the country. Meanwhile, the company refined its product. One common customer complaint was that the bricks didn't hold together, and eventually Lego buildings fell apart. The molding workshop manager devised a solution, placing three cylindrical coupling tubes inside the hollow cavity of the brick. This ensured that the tubes and studs interlocked firmly when the 2 bricks were combined, adhering almost as if glued. Yet they were also easy to pull apart. The so-called clutch power provides stability and astonishing potential. The patent was approved on January 28 of 1958. The birth date of the modern Lego brick as it endures to this day. Less than 2 months later, Old Kirk Christensen died at the age of 66 of cardiac arrest. He left a staggering legacy, not only as a visionary toy maker, but as a beloved patriarchal, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, figure to his employees, but he always referred to them as people, not workers. In the community of Bulland and beyond. As recently as 2023, a park in northwest Rome was named in his honor. Although the company was split between the Christensen sons, it was Godfred who soon emerged as the leader. As the 1950s came to a close, the Lego system had spread throughout Western Europe, and the company soon planted its flag in the UK and USA, where in 1961, Lego entered into a decade-long sales and manufacturing agreement with Samsonite Luggage. In fairly short order, Lego expanded to Japan, Morocco, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Australia. In the meantime, the company built up its headquarters in Bulland, adding employees and creating a community, including housing. Godfred maintained a constant focus on innovation. In 1963, cellulose nitride, the material used to create Lego bricks, was replaced by the more stable ABS. Non-toxic and less prone to discoloration and warping, ABS is more resistant to heat, acids, salt, and other chemicals through a division dubbed Lego Fortua, which set up a test workshop in the late 60s. The first Lego train with rails and a 4.5-volt motor launched in 1966. The end of the decade saw arrival of 12-volt trains with powered rails and a transformer. All the while, Lego elements were made to look more specific and detailed. Furniture, for instance, had to have authentic-appearing cupboards and drawers. In 1969, the Lego Group introduced a new plastic brick twice as large as the originals, called the Duplo, derived from Latin for double, aimed at preschoolers, but made it so that it can fit together with the smaller standard bricks. And that way, the toy could serve as a bridge to more advanced building sets and concepts. Lego's complex in Billund had become a tourist attraction, drawing about 20,000 visitors a year. That sparked an idea in Godfred's mind to house something. Hold on one second. By the way, really quick, this is the Lego Friends section. I'm not going to read all this, but y'all are more than happy to pause the video and read this part. There's the picture up there, and there's the words. See, I'm not reading this, but y'all are more than happy to read it if you like. Alright, moving on. A permanent collection of the kinds of large-scale Lego models the company displayed in its design department and in special exhibitions. It turned out to be a huge hit and inspired one of Lego's boldest undertakings, a family theme park on the order of Disneyland and Denmark's Tivoli. Fun fact, Tivoli actually inspired parts of Disneyland, or parts of Disney as a whole. Bet you didn't know that, did you? Anyway, showcasing large elaborate models of buildings, bridges, towns, cities, vehicles, and figures. Godfred presented it to his board of directors as a children's paradise like nothing seen before, where the child is king. Much of the park's magic can be credited to design chief Daggy Holm, who built urban settings, castles, animals, and fictional characters from children's tales. She was more of a sculptor and an artist than a designer, Keld explained. The success of the original Legoland as an attraction and marketing tool would eventually fuel 8 more theme parks in Europe, North America, and Asia, the most recent of which opened in Goshen, New York, in 2021. The architecture possibilities of Lego were not lost on adult consumers. To cite one experience, author Norman Mailer designed a futuristic utopian 6-foot sculptural model of his dream city. Wrote The Village Voice in 1965, his creation rests on a wooden pedestal in his living room, with the panorama of Manhattan as a background. It has the haphazard shape of a children's drip castle in the sand. In the 1970s, LEGO expanded its product line to include minifigures, LEGO people with movable arms and legs, and LEGO people with movable arms, legs, and hands that can grip things. These would come to include all manner of character, whether historic, medieval knights and castle sets, or futuristic, such as LEGO Space. With its astronauts, spacecraft, lunar rovers, and inevitably aliens, like the insectoids. Minifigures, wrote Anderson, reach cult status, and today there are 9 billion of them spread across the globe. To appeal to girls, the designers added a detailed dollhouse with knickknacks and hinges that opened and closed, and more realistic minifigures. Up until then, LEGO buildings had been outward-oriented, closed, and empty spaces. There would now be interiors, allowing for a more personalized experience. The next decade brought the digital explosion, and Keld, who had taken the company reins from his father Godfred, saw the limitless potential of computers for play and learning. He struck up a partnership with Seymour Papert, a MIT mathematician and computer scientist who is a pioneer of AI, an advocate of hands-on experimental learning. Experiential learning, not experimental, my bad. It was Seymour, not Samir. It was Seymour who introduced me to the idea of the intelligent bricks that you can program yourself, Keld told Anderson, having created the LEGO wheel in 1962 and electric motor in 1966. The next stage, what was that people could build behavior into their models. In other words, LEGO Robotics, Papert's MIT Media Lab collaborated with LEGO to develop bricks with built-in sensors, infrared photocell. Develop bricks with built-in sensors, infrared photocells. Kids can make robots, cars, and construction equipment that could be controlled by a computer. The technology would culminate in LEGO Mindstorms, a robotics brand the company produced from 1998 to 2021. The LEGO Group hit the doldrums during the 1990s. There were boosts from licensing agreements such as the Star Wars series of sets and video games. Other spin-offs were tied to Harry Potter and various Steven Spielberg films. Late in the decade, the company fell deeply into the red for the first time, and some 1,000 employees, 1/10 of the workforce, suffered layoffs. The new millennium brought a turnaround, however. Keld stepped aside in favor of Jörgen Vig Kalmstrop, very German name there, who served as CEO from 2004 to 2017, and a spate of new products caught fire. LEGO Friends, centered around 5 teenage girls, LEGO Technique, which employs gears, motors, pneumatics, and other components to create more sophisticated models of working machines and vehicles, as well as LEGO City and Ninjago, which is all about ninja. And even as the toy industry has struggled, by the way, before I turn the page, here's the pictures that accommodate this. There's also this excerpt in yellow here, right here. Yeah. Y'all can read that part if you want to. I'm not going to read that, because if I do, this video will be very, very long, and I don't want to make this video very long, if I can absolutely help it. Where do we leave off? Okay, the toy industry struggled. Wait. Uh-oh. Did I skip a page? Hold on. Okay, no, I didn't skip a page. Okay, good. Whoa. Alright. The creator... Why did you do a few different... Oh, it's like an actual kit. Cool. That is really cool, actually. Anyway, moving on. Post-pandemic, LEGO announced its revenue for the first 6 months of 2024 jumped 13%, reaching DKK 31 billion. Then, of course, there's the computer animated film franchise, which began with Warner Brothers' smash comedy adventure, of course, the Lego Movie, in 2014. Acclaimed for its animation and witty script, it grossed nearly $500 million worldwide. Several follow-ups were less successful, but the company has inked a new deal with Universal Pictures for 5 films, and as always, there's the constant stream of new LEGO sets. Recent releases range from the Cathedral of Notre Dame to the Spies and Minions of Despicable Me. The company has made a priority of going green, investing $400 million in sustainability efforts. One ambitious initiative was to phase out the polymer ABS in bricks and other products and use recycled plastic from bottles. Test results were unsatisfactory, however, and now the company plans to triple its sustainability expenditures, aiming to reduce its carbon footprint and increase renewable energy. We know that children are looking to us to do what's right, said the current LEGO Group CEO Niels Christensen, no relation to the company's founder/owners. Dadgummit. Anyway, caring for the environment is one of their top concerns. They are holding us to account, and we must set ambitious goals and take meaningful and lasting protections to protect their future. True. Here we go. Here's the reason why I wanted to even do this video in the first place. Where LEGO comes to life. LEGOland parks are popular tourist attractions, places where children forget they ever need to grow up. I should know. I actually grew up going to LEGOland, Florida, when I was younger. Yeah, I've been to LEGOland before. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Daggy Holm, niece of LEGO founder Ole Kirk Christensen, was just 19 years old when she got her first job at the company. She worked there for 3 months in the mid-1930s, designing toys made out of wood before heading to Copenhagen to pursue her craft as a sculptor. Despite her initially short stint at the family business, Holm would return nearly 25 years later and play a vital role in the conception of one of LEGO's most successful creations, Legoland. After Holm's husband died in 1960, she moved back to Billund, Denmark, to work with longtime LEGO employee Christian Lasgaard, I think so you say that, as a model builder. The two created large and intricate models made of LEGO bricks that were put on display at the factory. By the mid-1960s, 20,000 people a year were coming to the factory to see the display, largely thanks to Holm's unique designs, which focus on creating dolls, characters, and animals, as opposed to the buildings that LEGO had historically prioritized. I put a lot of effort into bringing them to life, she said. That's why I always started with dolls' eyes and later with the windows in the houses, because for me, they're a mirror of the soul. The sheer number of visitors was soon starting to become too much. Managing director Godfred Kirk Christensen moved the display to a farm nearby, but he saw even more potential. He began pitching the idea of a LEGO theme park to... Oh, I just lost my place. Oh, there we go. Okay, to the company's board, describing it as a place where the child is king and where children forget they ever need to grow up. By the time Holm had earned the title of senior director, making her the first woman at LEGO with a title above canteen manager, she brought in a team of 9 other women, whom she called my girls. We shared each other's sorrows and joys. We were girls in a man's world, and that brought us together. She started to put Christensen's ideas for a theme park on paper, sketching a plan for a circular space, 100 yards in diameter, where her builds could be displayed. Christensen brought in esteemed window dresser Arnold Baltrup after seeing his woodland-themed window display in an Anva department store in Copenhagen. Under Baltrup's lead, Holm's design was expanded to cover 10 acres, including a canal for LEGO boats, a LEGO train line, and even an entire kid-sized road system for bikes and LEGO cars. In 1968, LEGOland officially opened its doors. Located near the factory in Billund, the park features a construction site where people could play with LEGO, a driving school where children could get a LEGO license to drive mini cars, and a safari where visitors could view animals made completely of the bricks. At the center of the park was a miniature scene filled with Holm's recreations of cities in Denmark, now known as Miniland, and the rest of the world, again now known as Miniland. The first season welcomed 6,025. Wait, hold on. 6,200 visitors. Wait, hold on. No. Hold on. 6,600. No. 625,000 visitors. I think so you say that. More than twice the number that Christensen had predicted during his pitch. With the overwhelming number of guests, some of the executives, including Eric Tapdrup, head of the development department Lego Futura, and marketing director Torp, had to pitch in to help wash dishes at the park's restaurant kitchen. The Bullen site remained a constant success for Lego and is still open today. But it would be nearly 3 decades before the company would launch another location. In 1996, the second park, Legoland Windsor Resort, finally opened in England as a part of the extension plan of Kirk Christensen, Christensen's son, and the then president of the company, boasting a miniature London and train rides, as well as the Sky Rider roller coaster. The park welcomed 1.4 million visitors during its first season. 2 more parks were opened in Carlsbad, California, and Günzburg, Germany, before all 4 parks were sold to Merlin Entertainment in 2005 for 2.8 billion kroner, approximately $450 million, approximately $450 in American money. Anyway. Oh, at the time, my bad. After several years of financial troubles, selling the parks was, at the time, Lego's only way to get back on its feet. Merlin continued to open new locations, and there are now 10 parks throughout the world, including in Goshen, New York, Dubai, United Arab, and Dubai. I'm just gonna say the areas in New York, Dubai, and Japan. In 2023, nearly 17 million people visited the parks globally. Holm remained the chief model designer until her retirement in 1986, and while she passed away in 2004, her creative legacy remains at every Legoland and the elaborate Lego animals, the detailed mini-lands, and the trains that carry millions of visitors through the parks every year. I also just wanted to read this tiny text up here real fast. The Legoland in Billund includes a replica of the Nyhavn waterfront in Copenhagen, opposite. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, that's above. That's cool. And then, of course, on the left side of the page, a water ride based on the World of Chima theme at the park in Winter Haven, Florida. Which is Legoland, Florida. The same theme park I've been to. Alright, so now, moving on. Life in miniature. These small figures help put a face on Lego toys and are beloved by both kids and collectors, not creators. In the early morning of April 2024, a hooded man smashed the window of a bricks and minifigs in Ontario, California? Huh? Okay. Rushing into the small shop with a co-conspirator, the men grabbed handfuls of Lego minifigures from the display cases, shoved them into cardboard boxes, and fled the scene with 500 of them, worth about $7,000. This was part of a 100,000 crime spree across Southern California, in which 7 stores in the franchise, which sells valuable Lego sets and figurines no longer in production, were robbed. Local newspapers referred to the incidents as the Lego heist, describing the stolen objects as black market goods. The loot, 4-centimeter-tall plastic figurines complete with clip-on hair and C-shaped hands. Despite their small nature, these little guys are a part of a big market. Since their inception in 1978, Lego minifigures have become valuable collectibles, starred in blockbuster movies, and traveled across the globe, and even to space. Some minifigures are flying on NASA's Juno spacecraft, which is orbiting Jupiter right now. And of course, they can be found in hundreds of thousands of homes around the world. With some 4 billion minifigures in existence, these characters have become an inextractable part of the Lego world. In the 1960s, LEGO tried to figure out how to get a female audience, as girls historically hadn't been fond of the toys as boys. Despite the company's attempts to market to all children, in 1969, Olaf Theisgen Dam, I'm just gonna say Olaf, a member of the analytics department, a team dedicated to studying children's development play reaction to the LEGO products, wrote a memo urging the company to introduce human figures, arguing that while boys are happy to build and play with things, girls want toys that relate to human situations and activities. Oh yeah, look at what happened when Barbie was introduced. Anyway. Among the minifigures released as part of the mini collectible series are, from left, a rapper, a Hollywood starlet, a goth girl, officially called Spooky Girl, a pirate, and a soccer player. Opposite from top, so this picture over here. The LEGO Movie turned minifigures into box office stars. The little guys now represent just about every profession, including construction workers. Yep. Yep, just like Emmett. Yes, it is that. Yes, it is the protagonist's name. Anyway, in the future, girls will not only accept toys that consist only of objects, he wrote, they want life. Girls require objects to be humanized. You could say the same thing with boys, too, not gonna lie. Anyway, where was I? 5 years later, designer Jen Cudnedson, I'm just gonna say Jens, developed a LEGO family box in which a mom, dad, brother, sister, and even grandma could be built out of LEGO pieces. The sets sold well, but they weren't size compatible with other LEGO products, so the following year, Nygaard Knudsen, or Jens, began developing minifigures. These fit the scale of the LEGO buildings, but were missing a key requirement from Dams. 1969 brief. These figures or dolls cannot be rigid and angular. They must be able to sit and stand and be suitably proportional. In fact, the 1974 minifigures were even nicknamed the Pillar of Salt due to the lack of their mobility. But after 50 sketches and numerous prototypes, Nygaard Knudsen created what we now recognize as the minifigure or minifig, Nygaard Knudsen created what we now recognize as the minifigure, or minifig as they're often called. In 1978, about 20 different characters with movable arms and adorable smiling faces were launched. The first official minifigures included a police officer, firefighter, and a doctor. They also had yellow heads and hands. That decision was based on the reaction by a focus group and was supposed to be authentically neutral. Or no, ethnically neutral. I apparently can't pronounce that word to save my life. Anyways, we need a bit of life in our LEGO universe, and the minifigures certainly brought us that, former LEGO Group CEO Kjerd Kirk Christensen told author Jens Anderson for his 2022 book, The LEGO Story. While the minifigures didn't specifically solve LEGO's struggle to capture the female market, they were none of the less successful, quickly becoming an integral part of the LEGO system. In 1989, the minifigures got their first major revamp with the Pirate Collection, but these bitty buccaneers caused a bit of a stir in the company. Historically, LEGO had only been intent on promoting only peaceful, smiling figures, in line with their Scandinavian educational philosophy against war-themed toys. Yes, you would never see LEGO make military toys, and understandably so. Or, not war-themed toys. You'll never see LEGO make military-themed sets. Which, honestly, can you really blame them? Anyway, these new characters were armed and even angry. Despite some concerns, the pirates are the company's biggest success to that point, clearing the way for different facial expressions and body parts, for example, a peg leg. Over the following years, LEGO introduced a variety of new features to the minifigures, including glow-in-the-dark elements, debuting on a Ghost in 1999, and detachable beards. As video games and gaming systems such as Game Boy and PlayStation started to threaten traditional toys, LEGO decided in 1997 to create its own video game, LEGO Island, starring a minifigure pizza delivery guy who attempts to save a town from escaped convict. Wait, really? That's the plot of the game? Okay, then. The game was successful. Oh, 1 second. The game was successful And there have been more than 50 minifigure-themed video games since. Speaking of that, this is one of my minifigures. This is Lego Sonic. So yeah, here's Lego Sonic. And now my big old fingers are in the way. There we go. Wait, hold on. Trying to get it to where you can see him without my... There we go. See, yep, there's Sonic. I just wanted to show you all that real fast. Anyways, continuing where we left off, minifigures have appeared on other screens as well, including in films and TV shows, including a series of Star Wars-themed specials. Yes, there are Lego-themed Star Wars specials. And of course, the Lego movie franchise. The first film was released in February 2020, not 2020. The first film was released in February 2014 and boasted an all-star cast, including these people down here, as the voices of the minifigure characters. It was a massive success that led to 3 more movies. While the minifigures were originally created to appeal to children, there has also been a passionate adult fan base. In 1999, Lego's licensing deal with Star Wars opened the door for the minifigure to become the collectible we know today, including various characters from Disney, Marvel, DC, and even other companies like Nintendo and Sega. Just like that Sonic figurine I showed y'all earlier. Anyway, soon the toys began being resold to collectors well above their retail value. By 2010, LEGO had fully embraced this fan base and their money, launching the minifigure collectors line. The first 16 characters included a surfer, a knight, and a caveman. In a savvy business move, they were sold in opaque bags so fans couldn't tell which one they were getting, forcing more dedicated collectors to buy out stores in order to complete their set. Basically mystery collecting toys. Anyway, but since then, 30 collectible series have been released, and collectors are now a key part of the minifigure customer base, amassing thousands of the tiny figures and displaying them on shelves, showing off their finds on social media, and attending LEGO conventions in search of specific figures. Fans can even download the Minifig Collector app to catalog and organize their collections. Not surprisingly, prices have shot up on certain figures, such as the Spider-Man minifig from the 2013 San Diego Comic-Con that is currently estimated to be worth almost 18 million. Wow. Wait. Yeah, I think I said that right. According to Brick Economy, an online guide to LEGO's values and trends. Despite all these flourishes in many ways, minifigures have stayed the same over the past 5 decades. They are still made, from the same mold. Most still have yellow faces, other than some licensed ones, again, like my Sonic figurine I just showed you. And they're still a beloved item for children and collectors alike. But they have also progressed to reflect changing sensibilities. In 2016, a minifigure in a wheelchair was released, and over time, more female minifigs, including firefighters and ninjas, have made their debut in order to break gender stereotypes, according to LEGO. The whole point of minifigures are they let children create and be anyone they want, male or female, helmets or hair, freckles or glasses, anything. So when are we going to get a minifigure that has a pullover hoodie, huh? Anyway, I'm joking. So here's the creating new worlds thing. I'm not reading any of this. Again, y'all can read this if you like. Yeah. Yep, you can read this if you like. Learning with LEGO. I knew this was coming. Alright, oh, whoops. Hold on. There we go. Alright, learning with LEGO. Fun and good for you. Childhood development experts agree that playing with the toys can help build cognitive, social, and motor skills. Which is ironic, because when I tried to get into LEGO, I absolutely despised it. I tried, I just did not care for it at all. Anyway, a playroom filled with LEGO toys, everything from Duplo blocks to intricately built Star Wars spacecrafts and minifigures, isn't just one filled with fun, it's a space filled with vast opportunities for children to learn and grow in a variety of ways. so much that caregivers should overlook this very real and present danger of stepping on a Lego piece. If you know, you know. Learning through play is crucial because it engages children in an active, hands-on manner, making learning enjoyable and memorable, explains child development expert Amanda Gummer, that's an interesting name, PhD, the founder of Fundamentally Children. That's funny. Anyway, an evidence-based an evidence-based company firm that provides expertise in child development and play. A summary of the 2017 Learning Through Play report from the LEGO Foundation, a corporate foundation that owns a percentage of the company and helps fund programs that promote learning through play for children at 12 and under, supports the idea, stating, research shows that different areas of learning are more interconnected than previously thought, and that playful learning experiences can I can't pronounce that, dear God. That playful learning experiences can be effective ways to foster deeper learning and develop a broad range of skills and an understanding of academic concepts. This is especially true of activities such as those involving Lego toys. This is actually true because when I was younger, I joined a Lego program called Bricks for Kids, and that is very true. So yes, I have played with Lego before. That's why I said when I tried to get into it, I absolutely despised it. But I don't hate it in general. I tried to get into it, and I just did not like it at all. Anyways, that both help develop and utilize several skills at once. Playful activities like Lego building engage multiple domains of development simultaneously, including cognitive, creative, physical, social, and emotional aspects, says Aaron O'Connor, a professor and program leader of early childhood education at New York University, co-host of the Parenting Understood podcast, and chief of education at Cooper, an online parenting community. This holistic approach supports well-rounded development in children. Playing with Lego toys helps children acquire and develop skills that they can take with them throughout a variety of scenarios in increasingly complex play. There is a Lego line for every stage of childhood, and of course, throughout everyday life. O'Connor notes that these skills are engaged in playing independently or with peers and adults. In fact, she explains, playing with an adult allows for both the adult to take an interest in child's play and for scaffolding, which allows an adult to support a child in developing skills slightly beyond where they currently are developmentally. According to both O'Connor and Gummer, the skills acquired by Lego play in general include cognitive skills, motor skills. Sorry about that. My hand tensed up there. Anyway, cognitive skills, motor skills, and social and emotional skills. Yeah, that looks about right. Anyway, the experts agree that collaboration, cooperation, communication, sharing, taking turns, empathy, and conflict resolution are skills encouraged by group play with Lego. For instance, Gummer notes that the collaborative sets or themes, such as Lego City or Lego Friends, can enhance social skills, by encouraging children to role-play and build together. Furthermore, children can learn patience with themselves and others, and for the inevitable moment when a Lego structure falls apart, they can also build persistence by working through challenges and completing projects, explains O'Connor, who adds that successfully building models and creations boost confidence and self-esteem. All the while, O'Connor says, executive functioning skills, which help people learn, are supported through Lego play, as these encompass cognitive skills such as planning, working memory, and impulse control, as well as SEL, social-emotional learning. Skills that focus on understanding and managing emotions and building relationships. Sarah Corning, aka Science Teacher Sarah, whose STEM-based nonprofit Science Adventure Kids, Inc., offers science classes and camps to children in New York City. Says the power Lego can have in a room full of children is pretty amazing, and that a simple bucket of bricks can help them open up, build friendships, build friendships, and ultimately learn. They all just sort of gravitate towards it and start talking with each other and find pieces for each other and help each other build things. This is especially true when I was in that Bricks for Kids program I mentioned earlier. And then they'll make up a whole scenario around what's going on, as she says, describing how LEGO can foster creativity as well as other aspects of children's cognitive, social, emotional, and physical development. Learning through play might certainly involve offering children bricks of various sizes, as it is allowing children to manipulate objects, experiment, and discover things for themselves, explains O'Connor. LEGO toys can also provide an interactive way to teach specific subjects, integrating play with educational content, says Scummer. This approach helps children retain information better and develop a love for learning. This is also true, as when I was younger, my elementary school would actually take a field trip to Legoland, and we did and aside from experiencing most of the park, we also took in a educational lesson based on, I think, energy? That sounds about right. Anyway, the broad concept of learning through play is woven through the spectrum of LEGO experiences, with children interacting with the toys in different ways as they master new skills and grow. The learning benefits of playing with Legos evolve significantly as children grow and develop. Reflecting their changing cognitive, motor, and social abilities, says O'Connor. In general, the learning potential of LEGO evolves in tandem with children's developmental stages. These stages range all the way from toddlers, who says O'Connor, developing hand-eye coordination by stacking and fitting pieces together, beginning to understand the concept of cause and effect, and primarily exploring Duplo blocks through touch, taste, and manipulation, to older children, 9 and up, who may explore more sophisticated engineering principles like structural integrity, force, and motion, as they build robots, machines, and other complex creations, and even share their creations online or design their own instructions. Yes, this is all true. There are many developmental stages in between. Children will use LEGO figures and settings as they develop an increased ability for symbolic play, storytelling, and emotional awareness, and they will move from Duplo-sized bricks to smaller pieces as their fine motor skills and creativity expand. Caregivers, of course, should make sure that children are developmentally ready to avoid putting small pieces in their mouths. As they enter kindergarten and proceed through grade school, they are able to follow more complex instructions and develop more advanced problem-solving skills, and are introduced to more technical engineering-type concepts such as balance, stability, and gears. O'Connor adds that even kids' ability to use LEGO to tell a story with greater character awareness and a beginning, middle, and end evolves throughout early childhood. LEGO toys have also been used to help build social and emotional skills in neurodivergent children, such as those on the autism spectrum, and including me, the one making this video right now, who might get developmental benefits including increased social interaction and communication skills from group play. Programs, including one supported by the LEGO Foundation, stem from LEGO-based therapy, a methodology developed by psychologist Daniel Le Goff, PhD, and based on his 2004 study, use of LEGO as a therapeutic medium for improving social competence in the Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders. Furthermore, LEGO play can be adapted for children with different needs, as LEGO aims to make learning through play more inclusive. With sets like Play with Braille? Sets like Play with Braille for visually impaired individuals. Interesting. With the acquisition and utilization of broad skills through play often occurs simultaneously, O'Connor notes that 3 different types of LEGO play tap into distinct areas of development, and the balance shifts depending on whether a child follows instructions or builds freely. For instance, following the instructions of a LEGO set may take more sequential thinking skills than designing one's own creation, which more directly fosters divergent thinking, creativity, and self-expression. But the key word is balance, as one set of skills can open doors for another, even when following set instructions, says Gummer, children can modify or enhance their builds, adding personal touches that reflect their creative thinking. Yes, I did this too when I was younger. Oh boy, this is very, very long. Okay. Children might gravitate towards one kind of play over another, but Corning believes it is important to encourage it all, providing structure and a pattern to children who tend to prefer creative play and an outcome that encourages more creativity to those who tend to want to follow the instructions. We should learn how to follow a pattern. We should learn how to follow a set of instructions, he says, but we should also be capable of taking things apart, rebuilding them, and making them into something new or being creative with them. An integration of these skills can be supported throughout LEGO lines, from Duplo sets that encourage building and storytelling with figures and pieces marked with realistic details, to Creator 3-in-1 sets for ages 6 and up that allow children to put together a model in 3 different ways, like a retro camera that can be rebuilt into a TV. Plus, from Marvel to Minecraft to Disney and more, there are kits for children who want to immerse themselves in specific make-believe worlds. The 2022 Learning Through Play and Development of Holistic Skills Across Childhood Summary report by the LEGO Foundation, a follow-up to the company's 2017 report on play, discusses an interconnection between the development and utilization of holistic skills, which the report breaks down into cognitive, creative, physical, social, and emotional, and their sub-skills in children when engaging in complex tasks, including play. The report indicates that while there are numerous studies focusing on a positive link between play and one set of holistic skills, namely cognitive skills, and their development in children, there is a marked lack of research showing positive links between learning through play and more than one holistic skill or sub-skill together, and that more of the research is based on children's ages 3 to 5. One might say the proof is the play and in the classroom. LEGO Play and clearly supports child development and the skills kids need to become lifelong learners and thinkers. Also, says O'Connor, it offers ways to understand the core concept of STEAM: science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math. Education from basic principles, think gravity, balance, stability, shape, texture, to more complex ideas of how different mechanisms such as gears and pulleys and LEGO Technic sets work together. In STEAM education, problem-solving experimentation, scientific inquiry, and early math skills like geometry, estimation, and measurement are specifically supported, explains O'Connor. There are LEGO education sets recommended for classrooms from pre-K to middle school that delve even further into STEAM concepts, with coding and robotics supported by various products. Even with the most entry-level Duplo blocks, children are inherently introduced to STEAM concepts when they're using their developing cognitive skills to create simple structures. They are, in essence, embarking upon an engineering path, or as Cornering describes it, a putting things together path. Early on, she also uses LEGO references to explain the world around us, telling children that molecules are the Legos of the universe, to get them to understand how the universe works and is held together. Similarly, looking at LEGO pieces as the individual components of a structure can help children. The ability to think in 3 dimensions is enhanced through building. Children are required to understand how different pieces can be combined and how changing one part of the structure can affect the whole, Gummer says. This kind of spatial reasoning, she adds, is crucial not only in everyday tasks but in also fields such as engineering, architecture, and computer science. Children, especially young ones, do not realize that they are developing and utilizing the interconnected cognitive, motor, social, and emotional skills that are needed throughout life when they are engaged in play that is active, meaningful, joyful, and offers intrinsic motivation to learn and explore, O'Connor says. Fun and playfulness encourage children to think outside the box, experiment with different ideas, and take risks without fear of failure, she notes. This fosters creativity, innovation, and problem-solving skills. She adds that playful activities like LEGO building, which can reduce stress and anxiety in children, which creates a conducive environment for learning and development. That environment can be both external and internal. The open-ended nature of LEGO Play allows children to explore their imaginations without limitation, says Gummer. Even if children do not cite LEGO toys as their favorite building blocks in the playroom, gasp, children, and adults for that matter, see them everywhere. They're just so universal, Corning says. Everybody has a slightly different take on them, which makes them great for kids to learn so many different angles and different elements of life. Plus, she says, they're easy to understand. The physics are pretty simple, and yet it becomes so grand all at the same time. And that indeed is a metaphor for the myriad skills that can be engaged and fostered through LEGO Play. On their own, these skills might seem like simple pieces of a more complex puzzle, but together they can create a magnificent, interconnected framework for overall development and learning. Oh my god, that is the most reading I've ever done. Oh my goodness. Okay, Chapter 2, From Brick to Screen. Basically talking about pop culture. LEGO pop culture. Okay. Box office bricktacular. Turns out you really can build anything with LEGO, even an Oscar-nominated hit movie defying all expectations. 2014's The Lego Movie exploded into theaters like a candy-colored rocket ship full of mirthful comic adventure and surprisingly edgy subtext. Rather than a 90-minute ad for the popular bricks, writer-directors, dear God, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller created an emotionally affecting, visually stunning feature with an A-list cast and an awesome song guaranteed to get stuck inside your head. Everything is awesome. Okay, we're not saying more of that because YouTube might detect that as copyright. Anyway, the secret to such sophisticated artistry, we made something that uses LEGO as a medium to tell a story rather than a story to sell LEGO. Miller told The Hollywood Reporter in 2015, "We saw it as a way to talk about creativity. We were using it as a Trojan horse to slip in some subversive ideas under the cover." Very interesting that the whole Trojan horse thing in history has kind of come full circle, at least in today's society. Anyway, moving on. Of making a very corporate-friendly family movie. Although it is unquestionably friendly to LEGO, the film did not originate with Danish company producer Dan Lin, Sherlock Holmes, had the idea for the movie after observing his son at play. He had 2 bricks clicked together and was running around the house flying them like they were a spaceship, Lin told The Hollywood Reporter. They were just 2 bricks, but in his mind it was a much grander adventure. And I thought, wow, what a creative toy. There should be a movie. In modern-day Hollywood, the idea of a movie based on LEGO might seem like a no-brainer. Long before 2013's Barbie took the world by storm, toys and board games have been enjoying stirring turns on the big screen. Though they gained a different prominence with Michael Bay's 2007 blockbuster Transformers, based on the popular Hasbro toy line, the CG-laden action flick elevated the profile of the kiddie product genre by ranking in upwards of 700 million at the worldwide box office. Not only did it launch a massive franchise, it also spawned a wave of toy aisle inspired films, including 2009's G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, and 2012's Battleship. Yet, the LEGO Movie initially provided a hard sell when Lin pitched executives on the concept in 2008. They didn't immediately spark to the idea. Interlocking plastic bricks had been an enduring favorite among children and adults since they were introduced in 1949. Top Brass felt that there was no need to jeopardize the goodwill of the brand had amassed over all those years with a film that could potentially damage its reputation. A little bit of the rejection with headquarters in Denmark was, well, why would we even want to do that? Jill Wilford, now LEGO's head of global entertainment, recalled to Variety in March of 2024. It was only after Lin commissioned screenwriters Kevin and Dan Hageman, who are known for making Hotel Transylvania, to pen an early treatment for a fun character-based adventure and set in an animated LEGO universe, that the company got on board. Once we heard the pitch, how Dan felt he could bring the visuals of the brand to life, we started to think, this could be interesting, Wilford told The Hollywood Reporter in 2015. At that point, Lin began seeking out directors with experience in both animation and in comedy. He landed on Lord and Miller, whose credits included the family-friendly Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and the raunchy R-rated romp 21 Jump Street. Both of these films I have heard of. I haven't seen 21 Jump Street, though I have heard of it, and of course, we've all heard of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. But the pair, famed for their wickedly irrelevant humor, had reservations. Like the LEGO executives before them, the duo harbored concerns that the film would be less about storytelling and more about advertising. It was definitely an issue for us, Miller told Forbes. Right from the start, we were skeptical about doing it because people could see it as a giant commercial, and that wasn't something we were interested in doing. Luckily, the people at LEGO felt the same way. They didn't need a movie to boost sales. If anything, making a movie had much more downside. So they had the same philosophy as us, which was to use LEGO as a medium rather than as a product to sell. Lord and Miller set about fleshing out their own take on the screenplay, crafting an upbeat action comedy that simultaneously served as winking indictment of consumerism and conformity. We wanted to make an anti-totalitarian film, totalitarian film for children, Ward told The Guardian, something that was talking about the importance of freedom and innocence and innovation and keeping society honest. Here's what's talking about there. There's President Business right there. Anyway, they centered the film on everyman protagonist Emmett Brickwowski. Does that sound like Mike Wazowski to anyone? Anyway, the most regular guy in the metropolis of Bricksburg. He's abnormally normal. His favorite show is a sitcom called Where Are My Pants? His favorite song is the ubiquitous Everything Is Awesome. He listens to it on repeat during his daily bumper-to-bumper commute, fueled by the $1.37 cup of coffee he picks up on his way to work. He arrives to his construction job every morning ready to assemble buildings according to the directions he's given. Emmett's comfortable, if somewhat lonely routine, is forever upended by avowed nonconformist Wild Style. Emmett spies her trespassing at his job site one night. While attempting to warn her that she's breaking the rules, he quite literally stumbles across the coveted piece of resistance. The scared object is key to saving the world from the duplicitous Ward Business, the villain, who's been posing as Bricksburg's president. God, that's a tongue twister to say. Bricksburg's. Anyway, is preparing to unleash a weapon known as the Kraggle. Oh god, hold on. 1 second. There we go. That will freeze the city's residents into place forever. Convinced by Emmett's discovery that he is the chosen one prophesized to bring down business, Wildstyle whisks him away to Revidus with her allies, including the mystic Von Truvius and her boyfriend, Batman. It's only much later that she realizes that there is nothing remotely special about Emmett. About Emmett. A fact that greatly chargens the elite team of experts known as Master Builders, who initially cheered his arrival. A group that includes such great minds as Superman, Abraham Lincoln, and Shaquille O'Neal. I think so you pronounce that. Anyway, we wanted to subvert the idea of the hero's journey, Miller told IndieWare. Added Ward in the same conversation. Yeah, our big idea was that he's not allowed to be remotely special at all to start the movie. He's literally plucked at random. That's interesting to me. Make the chosen one not at all stealth. As the film leads, the directors cast versatile actors who advised a natural facility for comedy. A pre-Guardians of the Galaxy Chris Pratt, then known for playing sweet-natured if clueless Andy Dwyer on the sitcom Parks and Recreation, took on the starring role of Emmett. Clever and capable heroine Wildstyle was played by Elizabeth Banks, known for being in Pitch Perfect, while Saturday Night Live veteran Will Ferrell portrayed Lord/President Business. As the Crocs-wearing wizard von Vitruvius, the film featured Oscar winner Morgan Freeman in his animated movie debut. Oh, and rather fitting that Batman is mentioned here, because he was voiced by Will Arnett, who had a field day with the brooding hero's intense persona and sonorous speaking voice. It feels like the voice of Batman has gotten more and more serious and dark over the years, Arnett told the Huffington Post. You know how the Dark Knight star Christian Bale talks like this in a low tone? I wanted to take that and just have Batman talk in that voice all the time, especially for super mundane stuff. Lord and Miller encouraged the stars to not stick to the script too closely during the recording sessions. Also, rather ironic that Morgan Freeman... Wait a minute. Okay, there we go. Rather ironic that Morgan Freeman is mentioned immediately, that both Morgan Freeman and Batman are both mentioned, as in the Dark Knight trilogy, Morgan Freeman himself did actually make a cameo in that trilogy with Christopher Nolan. I just thought that was interesting. Anyway, moving on. While some tasks needed to be delivered verbatim to match the work the animators were doing, the directors also wanted the cast to feel free to improvise, an approach that often yielded humorous results. Typically, with an animated film, the screenplay word for word is the holy grail, Pratt said. At a 2014 screening of the Lego Movie, we had opportunities to work with other actors, almost like doing a stage reading like an old radio show. There's this magic that happens when you have people who are capable of ad-libbing. Lord and Miller took an equally unconventional approach to crafting the movie's visuals, inspired by the homemade qualities of brick films. Amateur shorts utilizing Lego bricks and minifigures. The creative partners agreed that the Lego Movie should look as though it was made from the bricks and theoretically could be assembled with the right quantities of Lego products. The mandate applied especially to applied equally to skyscrapers, pirate ships, and double-decker couches, as well as the ocean waves, cloud formations, and massive explosions seen on screen. To emulate the look they were going after, the team, including animation co-director Chris McKay, known for doing work on Robot Chicken, used CG animation to replicate some of the tactile qualities of stop-motion animation. It grounds it in something that's real and something that has a charm and an innocence and naivety. The epic version of what a child could dream up, McKay told IndieWire. The characters were designed to show a certain amount of wear and tear to suggest they've been played with often. Miller even supplied a minifigure he owned since childhood for the production. A 1980-something space guy with a cracked helmet, named Benny. The character was voiced by Charlie Day. Similarly, the environments were equally imperfect, with gaps visible between some bricks hinting they hadn't been fully clicked into place, and with thumbprints and smudges marring their surfaces. Technicians at Australian Visual Effects outlet. And then here's a picture of the directors with Emmett and Chris Pratt. Anyway. Animal Logic. Known for... Oh, will you look at that? Known for animating features including 2006's Happy Feet, used a program called Lego Digital Designer to translate early storyboard images into signature brick form. We draw a scene on storyboards in LA, then send those off to Australia, where they would Legoize them, Lynn told The Hollywood Reporter. If we drew a dog, it would come back as a Lego dog. The production spanned 3 years, and when the Lego Movie opened in February 2014, it became an immediate sensation with audiences and critics. It may have been a helter-skelter kiddie adventure built out of plastic toy components, but it's fast and original. It's conceptually audacious. It's visually astounding, and it's 10 times more clever and smart and funny than it needed to be, raved Entertainment Weekly's own Gilberman. Here at last is an animated comedy that never stops surprising you. The film earned $470 million at the worldwide box office, went on to win 2 BAFTA awards, and earned an Oscar nomination for Best Original Song for Everything Is Awesome, the movie's signature anthem performed by indie pop duo Tegan and Sara. But for Lord and Miller, some of the Lego Movie's true impact is owed to its surprise live-action conclusion. In a twist near the end of the movie, it's revealed that Emmett's world is in fact a giant Lego construction made inside the basements of a family home that belongs to the stern father of a young boy named Finn, who is actually Jaden Sand. Played by Farrell, Finn's dad is the all-powerful deity, the man upstairs referred to during the movie, as well as inspiration for Ward Business. He forbids his son to go touch the extensive Lego landscape he's built, which is held in place with crazy glue, which appears as Craggle, thanks to a damaged label, so that no piece is ever out of place. It's only by seeing the joy Finn experiences using his imagination to play with the plastic pieces that the man finally relents, throws out the rules, and joins in the fun, bonding with his son. Through Lego, of course. We wanted to do something at the end you were not expecting, and something that would sort of tie everything together, Miller told USA Today. We wanted to show that there's a real family story at the heart of the movie, that you only realize at the end it's what it really all means. And there's a picture of a McDonald's Happy Meal right down there. There's also a terrific Toy Story, but I will not be reading that part either. Y'all can pause the video and read this part for yourself. I will, however, do a close-up of this picture, because just look at how funny this looks. Anyway, moving on. Of course, the Lego Cinematic Universe. So I think this section is basically mentioning all of the Lego movies that have been going on. I'm not going to read this whole section, but I will mention them. The Lego Batman movie, the Lego Ninjago movie, the Lego Movie 2, the second part. I've never understood why they had to put the second part. Wouldn't have the number 2 just sufficed? Anyway, oh, and here's the rest of this. Here's this picture. Again, y'all can stop to read that if you would like. Pause the video to read it. Here's Farrell and Lego, which was something that happened last year, actually. So yeah, Farrell and Lego. Known for the song Happy, 'cause I'm happy, na, 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 na. Yeah, that song. Anyway, here we go. There's that. You can pause that if you'd like. Of course. A Force Awakens, with a pretty sweet picture of Darth Maul. Oh yeah, I've actually seen this statue before. It says up here at the top, a life-size version of Darth Maul made of Lego strikes a menacing pose at Legoland, Florida. I've actually seen this statue before. And I wasn't even a Star Wars fan. Okay, this is funny. A long time ago, in a boardroom far, far away, a Lego executive tried to persuade his bosses that a partnership with one of the greatest pop culture franchises of all time would help provide a new hope to the alien ailing company in the late 1990s. LEGO was struggling to deal with the shifting playtime habits of children and rising competition, especially from video games like Capcom, Namco, Nintendo, and Sega, as well as Sony and Microsoft. Anyway, moving on. Peter Elio, LEGO's head of operations in the Americas at the time, suggested to the company's leaders in Denmark that a licensing alliance with Star Wars would soon boost sales faster than Han Solo could pilot the Millennium Falcon through the Kessel Run. Star Wars was, after all, one of the most successful licenses across the entire retail industry, including action figures, playsets, lightsabers, and infinite types of merchandise. To Elio's surprise, however, his idea was not well received. For proud, self-sufficient LEGO, is this going to sound like Yoda? Hold on. The notion that it should license another outfit's intellectual property, even if the partner was an unstoppable hitmaker such as Lucasfilm, was repugnant, wrote David C. Robertson in his 2013 book, Brick by Brick, How LEGO Rewrote the Rules of Innovation and Conquered the Global Toy Industry. Oh my god, why are all these books have such long names? Anyway. So was the fact that if LEGO licensed Star Wars, it would have to play by Hollywood rules. Yes, exactly. Another roadblock was the very nature of the property was seen as conflicting with LEGO's longtime core principle of shielding children from the horrors of warfare. Even today, Robertson wrote, LEGO continues to embrace one of founder of old Kirk Christensen's core values, to never let war seem like child's play. LEGO executives who opposed the deal feared that by aligning the company's squeaky clean reputation, by aligning the company's squeaky clean reputation with the Star Wars brand, it might well diminish its own. While Elio and the Lucasfilm team may have found the Danes' lack of faith disturbing, they didn't give up, and armed with focus group research that indicated parental approval for a LEGO Star Wars union, they were able to convince then President, CEO Kjeld Kirk Christensen, a Star Wars fan himself, to greenlight the deal. Obviously, these pictures require no explanation. We know this franchise and its characters. Anyway. So... wait, hold on. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm not into Star Wars, obviously, so what's the point of me reading this if I'm not into it? But, for people that are fans of this, you can pause the video right here and read for yourself. If I was a Star Wars fan, I'd be reading all of this to you, but I am not. So, yeah. So yeah, I'm not. A pop culture powerhouse. With the Ghostbusters. Yep, the Ghostbusters. Yep. Oh, there's Marvel. The Lord of the Rings. Oh, Friends. Cool, that's so cool, actually. Friends. Come on. Jurassic Park / Jurassic Worlds. These actually look really impressive. Doctor Who. The Simpsons. Big Bang Theory. Also, here's a fun fact about Big Bang Theory, actually. It's implied that I think Sheldon is a Thomas fan. Or at least I think it wouldn't surprise me if a few of the Thomas and Friends Wooden Railway toys have appeared. Anyway, the fandom. This should come as no surprise at all. Oh my god, this looks amazing. Dude, this looks amazing. Hold on. What does that say at the top left? Brixie's... wait. Brixie City build grew so big that he had to move it to a dedicated studio dedicated studio. Huh. Wow. And then on YouTube, he's basically a YouTuber, basically, that reviews Lego. Mostly Lego vehicles by the looks of it, which is very cool. Anyway, building a following. While he remembers playing with Legos as a youngster, Jordan Forsyth, that's a pretty cool name, was 24 years old when he bought and built his first set as a way to cope with work-related stress. He soon found a passion for the toys and began sharing his builds on Instagram, and in 2017, he branched out to other social media channels. Now, the 34-year-old from Edmonton, Alberta, who goes by Brixie, posts daily Lego videos for his audience of nearly 45 million YouTube subscribers. For influencers like Brixie, sharing Lego content on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok isn't just a hobby, it's a full-time job. Many of these superfan creators have amassed millions of followers who routinely tune in to watch them explore the toys and perhaps glean a bit of inspiration for their own builds. Brixie ultimately left his full-time job managing his family's toy and collectible store and currently vlogs about 60 hours a week on the YouTube channel. Whether building off-camera or filming and educating in his day-to-day whether building off-camera or filming and editing in his day in the lifestyle videos. His most popular videos are updates he films of his Lego City, a massive urban layout complete with a boardwalk, amusement park, campground, and even a Starbucks. He uses a mix of sets and free builds, designing and building on his own rather than following official Lego instructions. The ambitious project originally started in his basement, but he recently moved to a larger production space outside his home. The city grid is 3 times bigger than in the new space, and Brixie has big dreams to fill all the white space in the grid. But finding time to build is hard when you're also managing one of the most popular Lego channels on YouTube. Brixie typically creates and posts several videos a week, but other creators focus on depth rather than breadth. Brick Technology, a creator whose YouTube bio reads, "I push Lego to its limits," has more than 2 million subscribers who follow his science and engineering feats. In 2024, the creator crafted a fully operational drum machine, that's cool, out of Lego Technique pieces, which are more complicated parts that create models of machines, such as cars and other vehicles. Brick Technology has also showcased a working hydraulic excavator, a wind-powered train, and a card-shooting tank. Other creators focus more on entertaining content. One YouTuber, known as Sacred Bricks, who has 1 million subscribers, makes complex animated videos to entertain fellow fans. His most popular content to date is a 15-minute stop-motion war that tells a cohesive story while showcasing his highly detailed creations. One of the most followed Lego creators, TD Bricks, has nearly 7 million YouTube subscribers. His bio says he loves building crazy things and telling fun stories using Lego. "I want to provide that Lego isn't just a toy for kids. Never stop having fun." TD's most popular video of a Lego amusement park has more than 100 million views. He also taps into pop culture, building characters from Stranger Things and constructing villages from the video game Minecraft. No matter their niche, creators can share and monetize their content on other platforms, including TikTok and Instagram. Some start dedicating Lego accounts, while others unexpectedly go viral after posting builds on their personal accounts. In May of 2024, NBC News reported a trend of Black women sharing their Lego collections on TikTok using the hashtag #BlackGirlsDoLego. One video depicting user at at Lexi, I'm not going to say the full name because I can't pronounce it, I'm just going to say at Lexi, showing off multiple LEGO builds, including a model of a Polaroid camera, an A-frame house, and several cars. It has more than 9 million views. I think this video might have just kickstarted my new hobby, commented one inspired TikTok user. You could have just said TikToker, but okay. Keeping up with audience demand and creating new and appealing appealing content can be time-consuming. In a 2023 interview, Sacred Bricks told Business Insider his animations can take up to 150 hours to complete. According to Brick Technology, a single video can require months of production, depending on the complexity of the idea. Recently, I focused on quality over quantity, so one video can take 1 to 3 months, Steve says. I want to give viewers the best experience and make every second count. The hard work is often worthwhile. For creators with this many viewers, social media can be quite lucrative. YouTube's earning model is based on a number of views and time spent watching videos, so going viral can be a recipe for financial success. Some creators mix platforms to maximize income, others home in on one. For example, while Brixie has 1.5 million followers on TikTok, and he says it's easier to build a following on that platform, YouTube is his primary source of income. LEGO content creators get started for different reasons. Some, like Brixie, take a chance and set out to monetize a hobby they're passionate about. Brick Technology says he always wanted a creative career and was inspired by other YouTubers to start his own channel. My first video got 10 million subscribers and over 1 million views in a few weeks, he says, citing a combination of luck and prior YouTube experience. Other LEGO creators have found virality and a sense of belonging. More unexpectedly, I didn't expect it to go the way that it did. Creator UliShow01, who went viral for sharing her builds on TikTok, told NBC News, I didn't expect to find a sense of community because Legos as a hobby is a non-POC, male-dominated hobby. So when I saw other women of color posting about it of all different ages, it warmed my heart. Some creators work primarily on their own, while others take advantage of LEGO's Ambassador Network, which recognizes creators who meet certain criteria. These creators, including Brixie, sometimes receive free sets to review for their followers. The program also connects fans without followings to an online community, as well as in-person gatherings where members can share their builds. As for why LEGO content appeals to so many viewers, Sacred Bricks cites nostalgia as a primary reason. Kids who are growing older now played with LEGO a lot as a kid and watched my videos to feel nostalgic, he told Business Insider. LEGO is something many people can relate to. The content also lets people enjoy the toys without having to own all the sets themselves. Kids are limited by how many Legos they have, and adults are limited by time, says Brick Technology. Since this is my job, I don't have those limits, and I can try things most people sadly can't. Like building a cat-sized Lego train, or racing Lego cars on a treadmill. Every channel has a different appeal. Brixie thinks his videos are popular because he's adopted a broad approach that appeals to a wide audience of people who find the content both entertaining and useful in their own builds. While monetizing a hobby or finding social media fame may seem glamorous, being a LEGO creator comes with challenges too, just like any other career. Brixie took a big risk leaving his full-time job for the channel, and now he has to balance 60 hours of work each week with his personal life, which includes parenting 2 young children. Plus, for any online creator, there's always the fear of trolls in the comments section. Though Brixie says his viewers are primarily supportive, you'll get riddled with negativity no matter what, he says. It's 98% positive in my comment section, and people love what I do. It's fun for me to do, too. Okay, so I'm guessing these are all the creations on here. Masters of the LEGO Domain. I will not be reading this. You can pause the video and read if you'd like. Fan creations come to life. That's a pretty cool picture of Starry Night. Whoa, okay. This is actually pretty cool. Not reading this section. I'm just breezing through it. Whoa, that's sick. Wow, this is pretty cool too. Oh, and looks like we finally reached the end of our LEGO adventure. Everything is awesome with LEGO. Since its introduction over 75 years ago, LEGO's simple system of interlocking plastic bricks has revolutionized the way we play and even think. The ubiquitous toys continue to educate and to encourage creativity and imagination. And on that note, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Talk to y'all later.